Let's talk more about the Phala Phala farm saga and the latest developments out of the Constitutional Court. We're joined by the African Transformation Movement leader, Vuyo Zungula. Mr. Zungula, very good evening to you. Thank you for your time and your patience. I know you've been waiting quite a while to speak to us tonight. Where does the outcome from the Constitutional Court leave your quest for more answers on Phala Phala?
What this confirms, Tembekile, is that, ATM is vindicated, and we were right to say there's nothing wrong with that report, and the president is just trying to avoid accountability by, wanting to go to the Constitutional Court to seek a review on that report. You'll recall that first Parliament, the National Assembly, was debating the issue of an ad hoc committee. The ANC used their majority to try and block an oversight, an ad hoc committee from being established. Then in December, it was the Section 89 report, whereby, again, the ANC used their majority to block oversight and accountability of the president. What the court is basically saying now is that there is nothing that Mr. Ramaphosa has done or has actually proven that the court must actually listen to him, when he wants to challenge that report. Therefore, what this means is that we need to challenge Parliament. We need to challenge the National Assembly. And if it needs be, we get the court also to pronounce, because it cannot be that there is going to be an independent panel report that is saying there's a case to answer, and then Parliament or the National Assembly takes a resolution that they are not going to investigate. Okay. Because what that effectively means is that Parliament is betraying its mandate of playing an oversight role by scrutinizing the actions of the executive.
Worth stating that the Constitutional Court has not even gone into whether Ramaphosa was right or wrong in his treatment of the report. What it said is it's not simply, it's not convinced by what he said as far as the Constitutional Court being the right court to sit and hear this matter, right? So he could still seek relief elsewhere. If he were to seek that relief, would you oppose it?
Definitely, because we don't believe that there is something wrong with that report. That report was done in accordance to the rules. Mr. Ramaphosa was given ample opportunity to respond to the questions, and he was also given the evidence that we submitted to supplement, our motion. He knew the rules, he knew the evidence. It's only after the report does not go in his favor, then he starts saying it is fundamentally flawed. Now, what is important for South Africans to see is that you've got a person that is refusing to be inquired, to be scrutinized, because in December, what was going to happen is that we are voting to establish a committee that will investigate, meaning by the ANC rejecting the ad hoc committee, rejecting the Section 89 report. What they basically want, they do not want any scrutiny, on the side of their leaders. What that actually does is that it actually destroys our institutions, because if you're to look at, for example, Parliament has not done its work in terms of overseeing the conduct of the executive. Also, if you look at the other institutions like your Hawks, Public Protector, the SARS, your Reserve Bank, in 7 months or 8 months, they've not even issued a report that is saying Mr. Ramaphosa is guilty or Mr. Ramaphosa has not committed a crime. Now, the greatest danger of that is that state institutions are being distracted, are being destabilized to protect a person. And, a precedent is created that whoever becomes the president of the country can basically get away with murder as long as they've got the political capital. So that is why it's important for this inquiry to sit, so that South Africans can know whether their president has committed crimes or their president has not committed any crimes.
So the Democratic Alliance has gone back to what it was saying initially when the Phala Phala issue was raised in Parliament. It's not saying let's go the impeachment inquiry route. It is calling for the establishment of a 253 section ad hoc committee that would look into the matter. Would you support that process? And I wonder if you expect that the ANC MPs would, by their numbers, vote that down as well.
Look, we'll support any mechanism that will hold the president accountable and determine the facts regarding this particular issue. However, recall that the issue of the ad hoc committees, remember, Nkandla, there was an ad hoc committee. simply because at the time Parliament did not have any rules, towards the impeachment of a president. Now, these rules were created after that particular situation. Now, the Section 89 is the most relevant process because if you look at the nature of the allegations, the nature of the crimes, including the nature of the recommendations by that independent panel's report, Section 89, an impeachment process, is the relevant process in accordance to the Constitution and the rules of Parliament.
Vuyo Zungula, good to speak to you, leader of the ATM. Thank you for your time tonight.